I read one article that talked about the evolution of laughter, like where did it come from? And one theory was that you'll notice that in a lot of mammal groups, higher mammals, primates, the dominant one or a chosen one will sit in a vantage point and it will watch for danger. And if there's danger, they'll cry out. And if there's a surprise of some kind. And that over time, it began to become associated with that tension buildup and then the release of the tension. Okay, that fear and then the release. Have you ever noticed that if you're really afraid of something, you hear a noise or something and then you see that it was just something stupid, that you often laugh? Right? And you go, oh, God. That's what that is. Truly. Do that for a sec. Go. Okay, good. That was for my entertainment, not yours. And so they believe that laughter evolved as when the tension breaks, when there's tension and then release, we laugh. Okay? We do it in the presence of others because it communicates something to them. You can communicate to the whole troop. The theory and the purpose of laughter. Okay? So laughter serves a social function. Okay, laughter serves a social function. It actually has a function in our species, a necessary one that evolved over long periods of time. Most laughter isn't in response to something funny. Yeah, that's a key. You want to remember that. Various research has shown that people are between 10 and 30 times as likely to laugh when they're in the presence of others. In other words, we don't laugh very much when we're alone. And we're more likely to talk to ourselves than laugh. We just learned that. Research also shows, and this one is fascinating, that higher status people can tend to make more jokes than lower status people. Higher status people make more jokes than lower status people. All right, and I'm going to extend this to why it's okay to be constantly bagging on her making jokes, even though she's not, as long as she's laughing. I want to tell you a story about how I first learned about cocky comedy, where the concept came from. Going back, probably 7 years now or something like that. I had a friend that I met who was actually my next door neighbor, turned out, and we became friends. And we would go out, and I was telling him about all the stuff I was learning about how to be successful with women and what have you, and he always just kind of looked at me and shook his head and laughed. Because he was kind of a natural. He just got what to do. And he had a lot of friends that were really good with women, too. And we were out one night, and I was doing my normal stuff, trying to be nice to women and build rapport and make them like me and what have you. And he was shaking his head, and he was just going, nah. I said, explain it, teach me, tell me what the deal is. And he actually said this several times to me. I saw it come out of his mouth. He was like, it's a combination of like being cocky, but like being funny. And that's like the best way I could describe it. And it took me a long time to really get it, to even see what he meant. And he had to say it several times. It probably took me months of working with it, watching him, trying to understand it, because I couldn't see how being arrogant with being funny could make a woman be attracted to you. It just wasn't a connect for me. Right? Now I understand that there's like a direct link with those things, and that when you combine cocky and funny, something he was doing unconsciously, and that a lot of guys that are naturals do unconsciously, that I had to learn and find, there's magic in that. Okay? It's a natural thing. It's a natural thing. Triggers that feeling. It's a combination of a lot of things that trigger attraction. Now the words cocky comedy, it's easier to understand and it's a little more clear, okay, because you have references for that in your mind. Think of Howard Stern, David Letterman, and probably my favorite, Triumph, the insult comic dog. All right? And if you don't know who Triumph is, go out on the internet and download the Triumph at Bon Jovi, Triumph at Star Wars, when he was out on the streets of New York, at Star Wars, when all the thousands of people with no life line up for days waiting to watch the movie. And I mean, it was just incredible. I think my favorite was when he walked up and he said, "Oh, I found an actual girl in all the nerds." And the girl's standing there, and he goes, "Honey, isn't it great? You have your veritable pick of the litter of men who have no idea how to please you." Get some Triumph. He is cocky comedy. I mean, he is the ball-bustingest. He takes it over the edge. He pisses a lot of people off. He walked up to J-Lo. Well, if a dog puppet can walk, at the at the MTV Awards or whatever, and he's like, "Please let me sniff your butt." She didn't like that very much. Watch some Triumph. Okay, it's a shot in the arm for you. These guys are naturally cocky and funny.